Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oli Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
And a very good morning, everyone tuned into TAB Radio. Yes, off and pacing now for your Monday morning. And as per always, we are joined by both Matt Young and Oli Cownie. Matt Young on the OB, Oli down the line. Very good morning to you both.
Good morning to you, Leia, and good morning to Oli, everyone tuned in. Yeah, it's been a big week in harness racing action. We had the Harness Awards on Saturday night. Congratulations to all the winners. Magnificent Storm taking out the main event billing of Horse of the Year, which adds a little bit of a smile to the Connections faces after what has been a tough couple of weeks with the news about him missing the Nullarbor. And, of course, the Nullabor's heating up too, Leia, with plenty of slots still on offer, and there's a horse racing today by the name of Steno that is going to be pushing pretty hard for one if people are looking. Steno, from all reports, is very interested in getting a slot. So, Oli, we can wish you a very good morning and welcome you into the program. How are you on this fine Monday morning, or Monday afternoon as it is for you?
Good morning to you both. I'm really good. Keen to get stuck in.
Wonderful. Let's get stuck in. We will be joining Jocleyn Young a bit later on as well with Matt Young. Great driving performance for her with 3 wins at Bunbury on Friday, but we will go straight into racing from Friday night at Gloucester Park. Horses to follow. Matt, you like Thompson Bay, Max Legacy and Finvara?
Yeah, absolutely. Thompson Bay, I thought he was eye-catching. His performance was really good. I think that what I most liked about his run on Friday night was he had a lot of hard runs coming off back handicaps, and to be able to get back into this grade and just perform well, it just shows that once he gets a draw again somewhere near the inside, he's going to be very prominent and dominant. If he can lead a race, I would suggest he's ready to win. So he's one to follow, and he goes around at a half-decent price most of the time. So Thompson Bay is one of those. I thought Finvara's run was fantastic. He just had a couple of runs where it looked like he needed them, and then at last start on Friday night, the performance, we just saw him, you know, just struggling a little bit back in the fields. He was on a looseish rein, but once Junior got him to the outside, he just dropped into another gear and really let down. That's a great run on the horse's ability, and he looked like he's going to benefit from that run on Friday night. So he's one to follow going forward. I think there is a win not far away for him. And Max Legacy, I just liked her performance again on Friday night. Sort of backs up the way she's been going her last couple, and she's one that we'll mention today in the Golden Girls Mile. So, yeah, those are the 3 that I've earmarked from Friday night.
Wonderful. And what about you, Oli? You've got 3 aside as well.
The first one I thought was worth following was Oli Cownie. Hasn't had the best of draws in his last couple. 3 back, he was second behind Vegas Strip, which was really good. And then on Friday, he was tucked away on the pegs and he flashed home in a 56 last start behind He's Good as Gold. I thought it was really good. Horses flying, can do a bit of work in the run. The next horse I thought was worth following was Getting Wiggy with it. In the race that was on speed dominated and pegs dominated, Getting Wiggy with it was able to fly home out wide. He's a horse with gate speed, so I think when he does draw a gate, he will be really hard to beat. And then the last one was Miss Linton, who was first up off a decent spell, was really soft in the market leading into the race. He worked forward early and then was shuffled right back in the run, and he did really well to finish off in second. So I thought he was another one that was worth following.
Wonderful. So Louis Lebeau there, one of your horses to follow, Getting Wiggy with it, and Mr. Linton. Matt, we've got some replays from Friday night that you had your eye on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw the feature race of the evening was the I'm the Mighty Quinn, and Ira Poole was able to lead and dominate. Here's the concluding stages of that event.
Here from Galaxy Warrior at a 28.6. Shelley Beach got past Illawong Mustang, and then came Jackpot Joe. Shelley Beach is after Ira Pool. Ira Pool's in front, though, from Shelley Beach over the final stages. Jackpot Joe, and late on the scene is BJ's Boy, but Ira Pool does it well. Ira Pool has raced home to win. A very good effort from Shelley Beach in second place. Third, Jackpot Joe, and fourth in BJ's Boy.
Ira Pool was able to lead and dominate, and Ollie, as we welcome you back in here, he's just a different horse when he can lead this bloke, and he was dominant again on Friday night. Our Shelley Beach, funny horse, our Shelley Beach. I've thought a few times, looks like he's going to be a Metropolitan winner quite comfortably, and then he'll be beaten as a favourite. And then he puts in performances like he has behind Might Have Time, and now behind Ira Pool in decent time. So what did you make of this race? Jackpot Joe battled on nicely. BJ's Boy got home well from back in the field. And there was a couple of horses there that weren't too far away. But what did you make of the I'm the Mighty Quinn on Friday night? I
think a lot of the talk leading into the race was around the controversial emergency system where the emergency does come into the scratch runner's place. So I think there was quite a bit of confusion leading in as to where each runner would start. But one start was also allowed. Ira Pool was a pretty dominant winner. Our Shelley Beach was fantastic. I think anyone that had a ticket on Our Shelley Beach was probably hoping she'd land leaders back, but she was super out wide. He was super out wide, sorry. And then Jackpot Joe, he battled on gamely in third. And there were some really good runs in behind, as you said. It was a pretty quick last half, so anything that was out the back sort of struggled to get into it a bit. But, yeah, dominant winner, Ira Pool.
And an exciting race.
Oh,
sorry, Matt, you go.
I was just saying, with the emergencies, the system that you're talking about, Ollie, I didn't see too much talk about that. What were you alluding to there?
I just thought it's a bit of a funny system to not have either emergencies drawn in the field or have them drawn out wide, out the back. To have emergencies come into the scratch runner's place seems like a bit of an odd system to me. There was a bit of talk about that leading in where a few people, I think, got caught out thinking Illawong Mustang would come into the scratch runner's place, but that wasn't to be, and it was Jackpot Joe, which I'm sure most people realise, but if you're only a casual follower of the sport, I'm sure that might be a bit confusing to you. So that's something I thought would maybe be looked at or discussed going forward.
Okay, and we'll move on now to race number 6, the Tab Touch Free For All. And this was taken out by Mighty Ronaldo. Here are the concluding stages of Ronnie doing his thing.
Full bridge, third quarter in 27.8. What's Up Sunshine leads 2 metres, but Mighty Ronaldo's closing in hard now. Covers him quickly on the outside, Mighty Ronaldo. What's he got on What's Up Sunshine here, Hall Jr. around the turn? I don't think there's much there. Mighty Ronaldo has stormed up and raced away now from What's Up Sunshine. Cordero battles on. October Rain the inside, but it is all Mighty Ronaldo coming away for a brilliant win, and Mighty Ronaldo won well. Second home, What's Up Sunshine. Cordero third.
Mighty Ronaldo, what a performance here. There was many, myself included, that just thought it could be mathematically impossible to be able to see him win. 39 lead time, 31.2, and then 3 sections, 28 or quicker. He's probably run his last 1200 with 3:27 second quarters. So the performance of Mighty Ronaldo was outstanding, and it was just dominant. And I guess, Ollie, it just really shows the difference between your lower tier conditioned horses or free-for-all horses compared to one that has won a Fremantle Cup and I guess are your genuine free-for-allers.
It was incredible to see Emily just swinging off Mighty Ronaldo as What's Up Sunshine was out in front, just running along as hard as we possibly could there. And he was dominant in the end, and I was with you. I totally thought What's Up Sunshine might be able to steal it out in front, but Mighty Ronaldo just had it easy and jogged away in the end. And another one that was good again, Cordero, but he just wasn't in the same class as Mighty Ronaldo is now. He's right in the zone, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's just just going so well, and has to be one that could be followed going forward, I guess, again. But yeah, it was a great race. Mighty Ronaldo, looking forward to seeing what he does next, and yeah, we get to see What's Up Sunshine race today. So those were the main two. We've given those horses to follow, Leia. It was a great night again from headquarters at Gloucester Park.
It was indeed, and we swing our attention now to Pinjarra today. We've got some best bets, Matt. Yours come up in races 2, 7 and 8.
Absolutely. Look, I'm looking at race 2 for the basis of Abundance. I think Abundance can cross these early, and from that standpoint, around about the $550.80, I thought was the play. It was a good race play here, because even if she was to take a sit in this race, I think Abundance can go very close either way. So I think she performs well at the shorter distances. Happy to be with Abundance here in race number 2 on the program. Then we go to the 2 features, and I thought, I don't like the price too much now about Max Legacy, but look, I think if you went 3 and then had Max Legacy as an anchor for 2nd or 3rd in your novelties, might have time. Looks a really good place chance. Cyclone Charlotte, obviously those two are going to be close enough to the speed, but I think Max Legacy, or I thought Max Legacy was going to just be forgotten a little bit, and as mentioned, was a horse to follow, and I'm pretty keen that she can run a place today. So I liked her in race number 7 for the place. Hopefully she gets back out better than even money. And in race number 8, I was quite hopeful of the chances of Lavra Joe. I just thought he could charge across and get into a good position here, and because he's so versatile and so tough, and his last run was the best we've seen him put in for a fair while, I would say at least in 12 months, I think he's tracking in the right direction. We know Ray Jones likes to race this horse, and we know when he gets racing at his best, he continues to hold that form for a sustained period of time. So I thought Lavra Joe, Cole Harper could just put the reins in the dust sheet and let him run today, and he would go pretty well. So those were the 3. Happy to be with Abundance each way in race number 2. Max Legacy, I think, is a really good place bet, but just a little bit on the shorter side now since the prices have tightened up a touch, and I was happy to be with Lavra Joe in the Mount Eden Sprint. What were your thoughts here, Ollie?
Race 4, I thought initially that Don't Wake Me Up would run an improved race, but he was scratched, so I thought this race set up really well for World Secret. He was huge last start, worked the whole way, only beaten by Dark Eyes, who was then really good on Friday again. He was pretty good gate speed, so I think he can just force the issue with some horses first up underneath or on debut. In race 6, it's pretty short now, but Sky Lord, just a class runner in this field, finished off last time in winning the 3-year-old Country Derby, where Jocleyn was a pretty daring drive on the horse and was able to whip around and take the front, and it was also placed in some really strong 3-year-old races. So I thought there was a chance that Wildcard could lead and hand over, and if he did, then Sky Lord would take any price about it in front. And then in race 11, I thought Yankee Kev, he's pretty short too now, so maybe you could double it up with Sky Lord, but Yankee Kev, his last 2 have been super. 2 back, he was working outside the leader and just found one better in the end. And then last start, he was really, really good. He beat them all. It looked like he was going to win, but then Roman Legion loomed up and flew by him, and he's won again since. So I thought Yankee Kevin could lead and win that one.
Okay, so just to recap your selections there, Matt. Race 2, Abundance. Race 7, Max Legacy to run a place. And then we've got race 8, Lavra Joe, after a fantastic run last start. And then for you, Ollie, we've got race 4, World Secret, currently at value odds with Tab Touch 1040. Race 6, Sky Lord for Jocleyn Young, who we will be chatting to shortly. And race 11, Yankee Kev. So those are the selections for Pinjarra today. We are not racing at GP tomorrow. We are racing at Narrogin. And Matt, we'll start with you. You've got your best bets in races 5 and 6.
Yeah, absolutely. The market is obviously going to tell us a little bit about this, but races 5 and 6 were the 2 that I sort of identified as being main play events, race 5 firstly, I was really taken by the performance of Bet the House in a recent trial. It's got the lovely draw, and I just thought Bet the House would run a really good race here. I know Mangatahi's drawn the back line, he's racing really well, he's got that match fitness, but I just thought it could elevate the price a little bit of Bet the House in this event, and I'm hoping to get a half-decent quote about this horse. The trial was really good, and I think what I most liked about it was that Chris Vogue got the 3-year-old to the outside and he just sustained the run, but the way he ran through the line was like he could have charged through a brick wall. So he was a really nice 2-year-old. He went out, he's had a long time away from the scene, so whatever he does tomorrow night, I think he's going to continue on, but I really like the performance of Bet the House, and I think he's one to follow going out of tomorrow's meeting. I know Mangatahi is going to be hard to beat, but I think Bet the House can get the job done there. And in race number 6 on the card, Our Lady Jen, first up for Dylan Edgerton Green, has been pretty unlucky in recent starts, and look, at her absolute best, I think she would trounce these. She's obviously not going to her absolute best, but I think she can get back to that or somewhere near it tomorrow, and I think she doesn't need to be at her top to be able to win this race. So race 6, number 5, Our Lady Jen, with race 5, number 2, Bet the House.
And Ollie, usually you guys actually do tips sometimes similarly, but I mean at Pinjarra, no tips overlapping, and here at Narrogin as well, Ollie, you've bet in 2 separate races, races 7 and 8.
In race 7, there's a horse here that's absolutely flying. I'm not really sure whether he can win. Skippy's Delight, but I really, really like him on a 1-by-3 basis. I'm hoping he's sort of even money to place. He's off a 20-metre handicap here, which I don't think is too bad, the quality of race he's in. Dorado and Rock and Roll Spirit look the main 2 dangers up closer, but I think Skippy's Delight's just flying. He was shuffled right back in the race last time and flew home, and he's just going as well as he possibly can. So I think he'll definitely run a place here, I'm hoping, and he can win if things go his way. And then in race 8, I was really taken by Taxi It Is last time in. I thought showed really, really strong ability and maybe at times did a bit wrong, but I think in this race has the key advantage on main rivals in Miss Hepburn and Grand Coteau off the back row. I think Taxi It Is has a bit of gate speed, so hopefully he can push on the front, and from there I think it'll be really hard to beat.
All right, so race 7, 8, Skippy's Delight for you, Ollie, and race 8 for Taxi It Is. Matt, your tips at Narrogin tomorrow, race 5, Bet the House, and a race 6, Our Lady Jen. So that wraps up the best of bets for today as well as tomorrow. Before we say goodbye to you, Ollie, have you got any other points of interest to add?
No, just really looking forward to the racing at Pinjarra today. Thanks, Lara, and thanks, Matt.
Before we let you go, Ollie, you've taken part in our I guess, sister show, which is Talking Trots. Has been on the air for a little while, and you've jumped into the seat there. So that's on Thursday nights, available on podcasts as well, with Glenn Mortimer and Michael Radley. So you've taken to the country selections there, 2 from 2 from Friday night. How did the one at Albion Park go?
Not so good, but he was a super run, Gus, but he was offered a 20-metre handicap or 10-metre handicap, and he would have broken the track record himself had he won the race, but in the end it was just running away that he never was able to get into it, and he was left with a bit too much to do, and being beaten 7 metres in the end was a really good effort, but he just couldn't quite get the job done. So, but he's a nice horse, and he's one to follow going forward.
And 2 from 2, that's got to be a good start that you were looking for to solidify your spot on Talking Trots on Thursday night. Yeah,
I mean, it's an honorary spot, isn't it? So got to make the most of it and hopefully get a few winners at value like Hayden King did back when he was doing the show. So hopefully do him proud.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your company this morning. Ollie will be joining you again next Monday. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks very much, Lara.
All right, we'll take about 20-second break or 5-second break before we get into our next special guest, Jocleyn Young.
They are Often Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport.
Okay, welcome back to Often Pacing, and Jocleyn Young about to join us this morning. Jocleyn's got 4 runners in and also a drive for today's program at Pinjarra, and really looking forward to the talent and stock that she's bringing to the track today. Good morning to you, Joss.
Good morning, Matthew.
We see Skylord coming back. I know Steno's obviously main event billing for the stable going into today's meeting, but a horse that means a lot to you and is very close to your heart. It must be great to have Skylord, or also known as Tommy, back to the track today.
Yeah, it feels like you put them out and then you're forever waiting to get them back to the races, because it's exciting to be able to take a horse like that to the races. As much as today doesn't look like a walk in the park, he should go well.
How has he been coming up? There have obviously been issues with him in the past through his three-year-old preparation. It looked like he was just in and out and sort of wasn't able to get consistency with his campaign. Are you happier with him going into this preparation?
Yeah, I've always, it's not his fault. He's had feet trouble and he got sick, and a couple of different things that made every prep so far has been interrupted, which is disappointing for us and him, because I just think that we haven't really been able to have him at his best, or not for a long time. I think he's definitely a horse that he's better with a couple of hard runs under his belt, and he just never really seems to be able to get that, because he'll end up back out and then back in, and he'll be a run or two short. But as I said, today he's first up mile, probably not the perfect prep, or not the perfect first up race, but I thought, he could draw one, but he drew four. But yeah, I know that he'll go well because he's a good horse.
So if going into this race, are you going in thinking he's going to need this run to really top him off, or do you think on his work it's suggesting that he's ready to rock and roll and he could be able to overcome what is a bit of a tricky draw?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see him overcome it, but it's probably not a race where we're putting all our eggs in one basket and going to gut him for a country win. I mean, he's definitely got the ability, but he definitely will need the run, and I can guarantee tomorrow he'll just be jumping out of his skin after a run today. And as I always say, I'm probably a bit soft on them. So generally they take a run or two.
Okay, and in the Golden Girls Mile for Woodland Stud, Max Legacy's drawn in one. Before we get on to Steno, she's really racing quite well, Max Legacy, and this is the perfect draw for her. Do you go into this race expecting her to be sort of hanging on your coattails pretty well?
Yeah, her last couple of runs, I mean, she's looked good because she's been held up from bad draws. So that probably, obviously she's going well and hitting the line good, but it probably makes her look better because she's been held up. It would have been interesting to see what she did if she did get clear. But yeah, I think, as you said, perfect draw, and I don't know if she'll hang on to Steno's coattails, but I hope that she's not too far away.
And with Steno in the race, she looks like she can charge across and dash to the lead. And how is she tracking behind the scenes going into, from her last run into this? Is she ready to rock and roll today?
Yeah, this is the race that we'd sort of, we'd aimed at. We thought we'd skip the Lombardo and go to this one. She loves the mile. She's just fast. So, and that draw worked out perfectly. She seems to be barrier 3 is her number. So yeah, I don't really, all things being equal, she should be able to lead, and we know that she can run a good mile. So I'm actually pretty excited about that.
So do you go into today? I know that there was that in the back of the mind with the mares, I can't remember which feature it was, at Gloucester Park, but over the mile she was able to rate a ridiculous mile rate of 151 and change, 151.9 on that occasion in the Laurie Kennedy. So going into this today, do going up with the mindset of not only just trying to win, but maybe stamping your authority for a potential spot in the Eastern States feature or the Nullarbor and try and break the track record today?
Well, those things, to me, it's sort of, if it happens, it happens. We don't want to be putting her in jeopardy or under any extra pressure than she needs to be, really. Maybe if they were going to give me the 10,000. No, just joking. I think she'll run a solid mile regardless, because that's just what she does. When she went 51.9 around Gloucester Park, she did that with her plugs in. So I'm excited to see her at Pinjarra on the big track. But also I think the conditions of the day sort of determine how fast the track is too. It's a little bit windy today, but other than that, it's setting up pretty nicely.
And with her, there's been discussion about not only heading east and potential spots, just awaiting that invite, but at the same time, you're quite open to the opportunity to maybe get into the Nullarbor. Have you had any discussions with anyone, or what's the story there?
No, only really discussing it amongst each other. We've seen her run the 2,500 in good time as well. She's got the gate speed. She can sit up. She's got the speed. And obviously, if that opportunity came up, you're not going to knock back a race worth over $1 million. And I think that everyone would be happy to skip the Sydney trip if it worked out that way. Sydney's worth good money, but it's 200,000 compared to $1 million. So I think that's an easy decision.
Yeah, and $1 million in your own backyard as well. On to the Mount Eden Sprint, Valentine's Brook. We get to see him back, and his last run was fourth in the WA Pacing Cup behind Magnificent Storm, and it looked like he really elevated in those last 4 or 5 starts. Is that the feeling he gave you? Is that when he stepped up to free-for-all company, took him a couple of runs, but it looks like he's really asserting himself as a genuine free-for-aller?
Yeah, I won't say he surprised me, because he's just got a really a good attitude to racing, and he's just got a really strong will, and he loves racing. He's very competitive. So I'm not surprised that he took that step. But the other thing is that he is sort of getting on a bit now, and he's had 80-odd starts, and I won't say he's been racing at that level for a long time, but he's done a fair bit of racing. So you start to get a few little niggles and bits and pieces. But this is probably the best I've had him looking, for the start of his prep. So I think that he's quite forward. So I'll be interested to see what he does today. I didn't really ever think that he was a miler, but that race that he won before getting into the Pacing Cup, he sort of changed my mind on that.
So it looks like a race where there could be a lot of speed in it, and with the draw, it's not too bad. So do you just get caught? Oh, you're driving. Do you just get into a good position? He's jumped off a swing band. He's just he's not loyal. He's a horse who obviously can do the work in his races, but at the same time, do you just try and give him a bit of a cuddle up, and hopefully they overdo it, and that really brings him into it?
Yeah, I think definitely first up, and I can see that they'll be running hard all the way. I don't think there's ever going to be a point where they back off. So I think, just grab a spot and just have him hitting the line strong.
And do you make it 3 in a row without a Lombo?
Probably a little bit of a ask. I do know that the trainer's quite happy with her. I think he maybe put some blocks on her to sharpen her up a bit, which she probably needs to be sharper over a mile and in a race like this. But I do think she is a horse that she's still got a little bit more improvement in her. She's still sort of figuring out what to do. So I won't be surprised to see her run a handy race.
Oh, well, looking forward to that today. Jossie, thank you very much for joining us here on Off and Pacing, and all the best today, and hopefully we get to see a few winners for yourself.
Thanks for having me.
There we have Jocleyn Young joining us here, Leah, as We've timed it really well. We're nearly at the top of the hour, so that's often pacing for this Monday, and looking forward to hopefully some more Nullarbor news coming up in the next week.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it, and we'll be joining you again next week, Matt. Have a wonderful day.
Cheers.
Matt Young there with Often Pacing, of course, joined by Oli Cownie earlier on. We will head